personally, when I'm dealing with girls, like for example, approaching them dressing provocatively, I'm being extra careful because it might fire back if she doesn't have a consent.
You can't have one party saying no and you being so determined that you force it into a yes. That's not correct.
Make sure that you match the tonality of the conversation to her. You can test it always. You can open up sexual topics, test it, but if she gives you a red light, there's not much point to carry on.
If you have a flirtation in the workplace, you have to keep it professional.
At all times.
At all times.
But stay away from women who generalize, actually, who attacks men.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Calm the Couch with me, your expert dating coach, Annabella Rose, and the very handsome Emre, your CEO and expert dating coach of Kamalifestyles.com. Now, if you are unaware of what we do on the Calm the Couch, we debate current topics, all out honesty, and we kind of get to the root of the questions that we're asking. So today, the question is, how to meet girls after #MeToo. So if you're unaware of what #MeToo is, we're going to delve more into it. But before we start, you know what to do. Click that cheeky
subscribe button.
Yes, and turn on the notifications because we're going to have so many more videos coming your way. So,
well, Annabella, what is MeToo actually?
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you not know?
I know.
Yeah. Let me educate you. Okay, so the #MeToo movement came around 2017, and basically it is a...
Oh yeah, it was way before, it was...
Well, that's when it all came, that's when it went viral.
It exploded after 2017.
Yeah, so basically it
Actually, I know,
the name of the movement in which women are expressing the sexual harassment and the sexual assault history that they've gone through, predominantly in the workplace. It was kind of... made to go viral using that hashtag with all the women coming out in a movement to vocalize their experiences that they've been through and the ordeals that they've had to undertake.
But a lot of women come up from different industries.
A lot of different things. Yeah. So basically it was all a movement to vocalize it and to shine a light on the issues that a lot of women do face going through, not just in the workplace, but in other locations as well, and different parts of life. And of course, with that, it was combined with the Harvey Weinstein scandal, when, if you're unsure of who he is, basically he was a massive name, influence in the film industry, huge superpower, and used that fame and power to conduct himself in not very good ways with celebrities and things like that. So they all came together in this one big movement, and it was a very large voice, and it's still echoing around now. Obviously it was a huge viral movement, but it's still echoing, and we still are talking about it, and it's still an issue and a hot topic, and how it sort of affects people, and how it has changed the way that we look at relationships and workplace actions, and how it can affect, and so many things that have happened that women don't talk about. And it suddenly became this voice.
Annabella, actually, do you know what I'm interested in?
Oh, tell me.
Would you ever #MeToo yourself? Does that happen to you actually in the past, or like you had a long career as well before us, and before we get together, you work for many companies, and
I have been sexually harassed on numerous occasions. Yeah.
First time I'm hearing.
Yeah, but the thing is with me is I'm very much a get up and go person, and I don't. Anybody who does follow me on social media and things like that, I always try and spread positivity. Yeah. So it's not really not that I would be afraid to talk about it, because it has happened to me. But whether I would use the #MeToo, that's up to personal,
No, I mean that I asked that, like, has it ever happened to you?
Yes, I once had a man. I've never been assaulted, thank goodness. I mean, you've had some sleazy people attempt to touch me in clubs and whatever. But I have, I would say, been sexually harassed because I had a manager of mine have a complete conversation with my breasts.
Oh, really?
Not looking at me, talking to my breasts, commenting on them, basically making them the focal point of a conversation. And I was trying to deflect, and my friend was also there. We were trying to deflect into other conversations, and he kept bringing it back. Talking about me in a sexual fashion, which I was not comfortable with.
I mean, did you clear the line, actually? Did you
Yeah, I'm very open and honest, and if somebody is doing
so
that,
you draw a line like straight away.
Yeah, I'm like, I would.
Did he carry on after still?
Yeah, he was relentless, absolutely relentless.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. But probably one of the only times that I've ever felt. I wouldn't say I felt a victim of it. I never feel a victim of anything, but I did feel degraded because he couldn't. I'm a very, whether this sounds arrogant, but I'm a very intelligent woman, and I can debate. Like we do on Karma Couch, debate lots of topics and have in-depth things, and I think I'm worth a lot more than just my body. Yet he made me feel like that's all I was.
But guys, like you have to understand, if you're communicating with women in a very sexual way, very physical way, if they feel a little bit, edgy, the way you communicate with them, unlike you'll install right emotions for seduction or either for dating. So this is very important actually. The way you communicate defines your frame. So how you want to be branded. Do you want to be branded as creep? Carry on then.
Yeah.
So I always paying attention to go with their tonality. So you need to match the tonality to their tonality. If they're getting sexual, yeah, fine. Go and get sexual, But if there's no consent of the sexual conversation, if you didn't get the green light, there's not much point actually pushing that, because you will irritate the women. So that is the biggest advice I can give you from here. Make sure that you match the tonality of the conversation to her. You can test it. You can test it always. You can open up sexual topics, test it. But if she gives you a red light, there's not much point to carry on.
Yeah, and that's exactly when you get into dangerous territory.
Yep.
You will meet. For me, for example, I'm a very flirtatious person. I'm very, very confident. And if I'm interested in someone and they throw a sexual topic out there, I will talk about it and whatever. But if a girl makes it extremely clear that she is not on board with that line of questioning and that line of conversation, shut it down.
Yeah. But that brings me now, my next point actually with Annabella Rose. You're here, great, you're gonna get the biggest, greatest female perspective. So, how men should approach after the Me Too movement, do you think?
So, yeah, it's
from female perspective. So, if you could break it down, then I would love to break down the male perspective here, because after the Me Too movement, I'm still approaching. I'm still on the road.
Exactly. I think
and I've got my own views as well. So if you were to say with a couple of lines how to approach women after Me Too, what would you say?
Well, let me tell you that, just to talk briefly about why Me Too has become an issue with meeting women. Okay. So a lot of people, when you do have a movement of some sort and a lot of voices saying, I wouldn't say negative things, but they are negative experiences these women have talked about, and obviously it's very positive that they're opening lines of communication and talking about it, but what the actual message is quite negative, because bad things have happened to these women. And a lot of men have now struggled with hearing such a large quantity of negativity pointed towards men seducing women. It has gotten a little bit confusing about what's okay, what's not okay, and accidentally men becoming worried that they're going to fall into the trap of the Me Too movement, but actually they're very unsure about where to go, because you guys don't want to sexually
there's a
harass
clear
people.
line between sexual harassment, sexual assault, and you approaching women.
Yes. The main thing is consent.
Consent. Yeah.
This is kind of what the Me Too movement comes down to. It is consent. Now, you don't have to go as far as people are making jokes you need to have written consent and a document and a contract saying. But what you need to do is, it needs to be so based in respect to your approach and the way that you converse with a woman, and you basically need to ensure that you're both on the same page.
But Me Too movement started towards actually guys who sexually harassing women, sexually assaulting women.
Yeah.
So it's unrelated. You actually approaching women in the bars, clubs, coffee shops, getting dates. Make sure that you don't sexually harass them.
Yeah.
You don't sexually assault them. That's the common rule. It's
funny.
Common sense. So I feel it is unrelated. It's to the topic when you're on the dating. Pretty much making a Me Too an issue. Actually, it's not an issue. If you follow the consent, if you follow your own rules of dating, make sure that there's always consent. Me Too is unrelated.
Exactly. No, that's a very good point.
Unrelated, because
it's
approaching
together.
the street, is unrelated to a Me Too movement, because like make sure that like you don't sexually harass them, don't be rude. There's no need to be rude.
Exactly.
And make sure there's always consent from the moment you approach her.
And what it is as well, if you respect her, and it's about not taking things personally and going in with the right intentions. If your intentions are to talk to a woman, and no matter what she says, you want to get her into bed or you want to do that, that's when you're going to enter into dangerous territory. You have to be open and comfortable with rejection, and you can't take it personally, and you can't then have a chip on your shoulder.
Very good point. Yeah, if you get rejected,
that's it.
Get rid of that chips.
Yeah, exactly.
On the shoulder,
and I think that's a lot of where it's come to, that people struggle so much with rejection. To overcompensate, they then try and push onto somebody to eradicate that rejection so they don't feel like that. But actually what you're trying to do is you're forcing yourself into somebody's life in a way that they don't want. Now that's got no reflection on you, and it's got no reflection on them. Nobody's wrong in that moment. But what it is if you don't meet in the middle and you're not both just saying yes, then it's a no. You can't have one party saying no and you being so determined that you force it into a yes. That's not correct. The way it is. That is not the way it is, and you need to.
So no means no, actually.
No means no, in any way, shape, or the word. Because, for example, most of the sexual harassment that I endure is in bars and clubs when guys you've been gyrating on a dance floor. There's loads of very well dressed women in a sexual fashion. You're all gyrating. You're having a good time. Now this environment breeds sexual tension, and it breeds, especially with alcohol, certain actions, and
that opens up another topic.
But what you would have then is maybe in your drunken state you wouldn't realize.
Well, I would never advise actually you take a drunk girl home. It's like if she's really drunk, would you enjoy the sex? You wouldn't. Plus, like it's a very gray area. When she wakes up the next day, if she doesn't remember anything,
you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Alcohol is bad and can contribute to moments of miscommunication. And with such, girls don't have any clarity, but so do men in certain states. Not to say that it's just specifically for women, but of course the nature of this and why it comes down to women vocalizing is because always in a sexual relationship between a man and a woman, man is always the dominant one. Because essentially, I know this sounds crude, but it's
and
the
we
man.
do pursue as well. Most of the time, women are like most of the time they're stagnant. They don't take action. So like
It's
when you're
always
pursuing
you
all the time, you're taking the most of the risk actually. So we are the one always taking the risk. So you need to minimize your risks. So the way you can minimize risks. Now I'm going to talk about it actually. It's a great way. I'm going to give you simple ways where you can actually approach women after the Me Too. One of them is actually proximity. You need to pay attention to proximity at all times. Like there's a red light, green light. If there's a green light, yes, safely touch her, socially touch her. I'm not saying sexually, socially. And
so like this.
Yeah, like you know that is okay when I touch you.
Yeah.
And she'll know it's not okay if I touch her sexually.
Exactly.
And you know what the sexual parts are. So like you guys here really need to be really careful. Proximity defines actually how quickly you're installing trust, confidence, safety. So that's why like look at our videos. Ian done hundreds of videos. I've done hundreds of videos. Look at our proximity, how we approach women. Watch their own Kama TV. And we pay so much attention to the proximity. And that is actually installed trust and confidence. So after the Me Too movement, actually, proximity become
key,
more important.
And I always say this, a good way to relate it to real life situations, because if you're unsure of what proximity really means, I've said this example before, it's like queuing for a cash point. If the person stands too close behind you, you are concerned that they are trying to steal your PIN or look at your bank account. But when they stand a safe distance away, it's okay. It's the exact same feeling in a sexual interaction between a man and a woman.
Stay in the social distance.
You're too close.
Always,
you feel like they're impinging on your safety. Whereas if it's a safe distance away, you can communicate well, and you have that layer of respect for somebody's personal space. And then once they become at ease, you can then decrease the proximity to become more sexually and flirtatiously inclined.
And you'll be very safe in the business, on the streets. Start with the public distance and go into a social distance.
Exactly.
If you have concerns in the business, I don't know how to stand next to the women, after the MeToo women, I suggest, there you go. That's your distance.
Nice arm's length. Because
That's
then she
your distance.
doesn't feel like you're encroaching on her personal safety and into her personal space. And then when you do get that green light, that is your consent.
But there's one no-no.
If she then closes it, if she then goes into it, that's even better for you because she's the one that's making the move. You've initiated the contact, but she's the one that's increasing the proximity. And that is when you know, A, that's a big green light for you because she's literally with her body closing the proximity, but also that's then on her shoulders. So that's her decision, which takes out the misconception that you're the one putting it on her because she's the one that's inviting herself closer.
Correct. But intimate space in the business life, no. So do not go into the intimate space unless you've got a real relationship. So
yeah, if you have a flirtation in the workplace, you have to keep it professional.
At all times.
At all times. And it doesn't matter, if she's giving you the green light or...
never assume that she'll give you consent. You don't know. It's a very gray area. So that's why you should be always careful and paying attention to the proximity and don't go into the intimate space straight away. That's wrong, so...
If you do have a work flirtation when you're outside of the work environment, if you then do want to try and test the waters, fine. Not in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because that's going to affect your career. If you misread a sign, that's your career. And that's not something...
You may end up in the HR room.
Exactly. And you do not want that. So just be very mindful to separate work and pleasure when it comes to proximity and flirtation in the workplace.
But how about the dress code? A lot of guys, they've got a misperception about, if the women, dresses a little bit, mini skirts, high heels, provocatively, they think that it's a consent. But actually, I'm telling you guys here, that is not a consent at all. Yes, they want to flirt, they want to actually go up, meet guys, but that doesn't mean that they are giving you consent.
Exactly.
So that's a different thing. So consent is a very personal thing. So that's why you need to take it very seriously and adjust your game based on her level of consent with you.
Definitely. When it comes to clothing, this is a big debate. A lot of people, and it's been brought up in rape cases, that they've gone, well, you were wearing a thong, so you obviously wanted to have sexual interactions.
Come on.
You're sorry? It's this weird...
Or you didn't wear anything.
Yeah.
You had no underwear.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Under your pants.
That is not an invitation. And how a girl dresses has nothing to do with her sexual intention.
Definitely, guys.
And what you'll find is a lot of girls dress in ways that make her feel confident. Now, when you feel confident in your body, you do not mind showing it off and you feel very comfortable. But it's kind of like this double-edged sword in the sense that a lot of women are molded to feel like they need to look a certain way by social media, by society, that what is deemed attractive. And for a girl to feel confident to go out into a club, she needs to feel attractive. So the dress code in which she feels attractive in, even though it looks sexy and provocative and whatever, that's not the case. That's not the purpose in which she's wearing the outfit. She's wearing the outfit because in her mind and what she's seen through media and how she feels confident, that's the sum of it. That's what she looks like. But that is not an invitation under any circumstances.
I adjust my game straight away, based on their consent level at all times. That doesn't mean that they do actually grant you to touch them straight away. So that's why, look at their face, how they're communicating with you. Look at their body language. Those non-verbal cues will give you a lot of insight in relation to her consent level. So personally, when I'm dealing with girls, for example, approaching them dressing provocatively, I'm being extra careful because it might fire back if she doesn't have a consent. So I always look at their body language or their chest area, for example, if they're turned to me, or for example, how they're using their hands. Are they touching me first? And then I know that like non-verbally they're giving me a consent. Like sometimes my clients are, but how do you know this consent, Emre? You know, that's the first thing they ask me. You're going then, you're dancing with them straight away, or like sometimes like I'm just isolating them, going to their waist lock straight away. And how do you know that? Well, I'm looking at their body language. And as soon as I get close to them, I'm checking my body. Are they touching me or not? Are they closing the distance or not? Once they consent, those are non-verbal cues actually. So like you need to learn how to read those like subtle signs, because she won't say that like in the club or bar, you know, here's my consent, touch me.
Yeah.
That won't happen.
It's not going to happen.
So you need to be dating savvy.
Like, for
Savvy?
example, savvy.
Savvy?
Let's say,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
right, we're going to do a demonstration. Emma, sit up straight.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. So this, in front of us, this is a bar top. Okay, so if we're talking, if you have open body language, I will turn the top half of my body to Emre.
Yeah, I can see her torso straight away here, the body, yeah.
And this is open signs of body language that somebody wants to talk to someone. Now, for example, if I did this and I stayed at the bar,
I'm closed.
I'm closing this person off and I'm not letting you in, and I'm putting a physical object, even though it's my body, this is in your way of getting close to me. So if you're trying to chat up to a girl in the bar and she's giving you...
Because I can't go.
That's it.
That's a red light. But what I can do is like I can, if it's the opening, I can touch her.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, I can start a conversation. And if her
I'm
body
probably
actually...
stay like this. Yeah.
If she turns to me, that's a green light.
Yeah.
So I can start carry on the conversation with her. And if I notice that actually she's closing the distance, and I close the distance, and I can go into probably like in that moment.
And I'd probably do this, or I'd laugh and I'd touch his arm, and it's that sort of connection. But you can tell it's like a stage. So first off, you'd stop, I'd open, then you'd get close, and you go stage by stage.
Proximity.
And what you need to know is that I can turn back at any point.
Yes.
If I've done this and you've got that green light, and we do this, and then something, whether you say something that I don't agree with, whether I get a bad vibe from you, if I close it back off, you're done. Just because you had maybe a green light, it was like an
doesn't
amber
mean
light.
that actually you have the full consent.
It was
still,
like an amber light. You need to go with the flow and be open to the point that it could turn at any time. And you have to go with the flow. Even if a girl, for example, if you bought her a drink at the bar, because guys do this, buy a girl a drink at the bar, that is under no circumstance an obligation that you're going to get your way with her.
Yes,
that was your choice.
That doesn't mean that it's a consent either.
Yeah.
So
that was your choice.
It's just a key for you to actually socialize with her first.
Exactly.
She's giving you an opportunity to get to know her.
Yeah.
Or she's giving herself an opportunity to get to know you.
Exactly. But at one point, if you've opened the door with a tactic such as buying a girl a drink, and she's attempted to test the water, if she then decides that actually you're not really what I'm looking for, we're not vibing right, she has every right to close that door in your face. And just because you bought her a drink does not mean you're entitled to anything. So if you want to use that, if you get annoyed if you buy a girl a drink and she doesn't reciprocate and you get annoyed with that, don't buy her a drink. Approach her in a different way. Just because you put a monetary value to your interactions, that's on you. That is not on her. So you need to ensure...
acceptance is the key. Like if you're buying a drink and expecting her to comply with you at all times, that's not correct. So you cannot buy the emotions. You
cannot buy that interaction.
So you need to back off over that and maybe move away quickly. You know, it's like you don't need to stay there. If she's closing the gate over there, there's not much point actually, because you will lose your dignity. If you push harder, you know, because I bought you a drink and she doesn't like you.
And then that rejection's going to feel worse. And that's going to hurt your confidence, and then it's going to make you more needy in the next interaction, and you're going to be clawing at things, and then you fall into this
You will feel
trap.
negative after that. So the best advice here, just move away straight away and take it in the chin.
Exactly. And that's the thing, that you'll also find a lot of girls that guys will maybe buy their friend a drink, or they won't buy them. And so they're feeling rejection as well in a certain stance. So it's not just this male specific, but of course we're talking about that because I briefly mentioned this in a Karma Couch with Ian, I think the other day, that biology, men will always be dominant. You are naturally bigger than us. You are naturally stronger than us. So you are in the more dominant position. So you have to be more careful. And that is the kind of be all and end all. It's the facts. It's the biology of it, that you are physically more dominant, stereotypically, than a woman. So you have to be mindful of your body language, of how you're interacting, the proximity, because she is going to feel more vulnerable than if the roles were reversed.
Yes.
So you do have to be careful.
So if you were to summarize with one word, what would we say? How should men approach women after the Me Too era? After the Me Too.
Respect.
Okay.
There you go.
Consent.
Consent, respect.
For me,
but
consent.
If you respect somebody.
So respect and consent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, 2 words. We can combine the two.
Two
Respect
words.
and consent. If
Respect
you
and
respect
consent,
a woman's right to say no to you, then you're not going to get in those situations.
But it's amazing, isn't it, Annabella? Like how this Me Too changed the whole dating game right now. You know, it's like even online world, the business.
Yeah.
So what are your views on it? How we are changed now, do you think, after the Me Too?
We are very hyper aware.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
I think it made guys more shy now. You know what I mean? Like
it intimidated people.
They got intimidated. They got more shy, and they are not sure actually how to communicate from here on. So it's create big unknown. Like they're like guys still try to figure it out their way out.
Yeah.
Because it's still new.
It's
2
still
years,
new,
and it's like.
And like I said before, when you hear so much negativity, it's quite scary, and it is kind of like. If people don't have open conversations like we do...
Guys, could you please post, just tell me how you feel after the Me Too era. What are your views on it? Yeah. Let us know how you feel, how you are changed after the Me Too.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, like a lot of things, when a light is shined on a specific topic, a lot of voices come out and it's very strong and it's very loud and people sometimes, I wouldn't say dramatize it because that's not to discredit anybody's stuff that they've gone through, but there's so many words, so many people are speaking out, and then it starts to feel like everyone's been done wrong and every man has done something wrong, and then it gets into this sea of which it's always like, when there's a badly behaved kid in a classroom, they always get the most attention. Not the good kid in the corner that hasn't done anything wrong, it's the bad kid. So if you put it into the Me Too thing, the people who are getting the attention are the people who have conducted themselves wrongly, who have sexually assaulted and have sexually harassed women. But there are a lot of guys who are those good kids in the corner who haven't done anything.
There's a lot of good guys. Correct what he said.
There's a lot of good guys out there.
Correct, yeah.
And it's so difficult because on the flip side as well, a lot of women have been like, well, all guys are awful. And they're saying all this thing. Actually, no, it's a small percentage of men.
But stay away from women who generalize, actually, who attacks men. Like, I don't agree with that. If they're too negative about it, just create this and there is some issues over there, so you don't need to be a part of it.
That's a whole other thing. We'll probably do another Karma Couch on negative women against men.
Another topic, correct?
Another topic. We'll whack that another week. But yeah, I always think you need to judge people on what they put in front of you. And if you are putting out good vibes, good feeling, positivity, safety, respect, you have no problem in the dating world. It's your authenticity that's attractive. If you are trying to pick up people in a manipulative way, if you're trying to gain people based upon lies and fiction and creating a persona that isn't authentic to yourself, then you're going to fall into a trap that you're going to make people feel uneasy and you're going to be part of the problem. So what we do, and our education on the pickup game and dating and interacting, is creating an authentic version of yourself, but into such a degree that you're such a confident version of yourself and you know yourself so well that when you do approach women, it's an authentic, real interaction. And
that hooks up actually straight away from the moment you approach women. After the first impression phase, they see this oozing confidence because you do accept your faults, you do accept yourself the way it is, and you're pure, you're confident. They see your best confident version of yourself.
And that's the thing, it's a lot of these men who have not got that confidence and they have attempted to manipulate women in a different way. So instead of investing the time on themselves and actually becoming this person and opening themselves up, because it takes a lot of bravery.
But guys, never take this personally, because like Me Too movement started towards people who were actually assaulting people,
Yeah.
women sexually, and they were harassing women sexually. So like, this is against the law. So you cannot like simply judge yourself
based upon the extremities, because these
Yes.
are very, very powerful people.
They're very extreme cases.
Yeah.
Extreme cases, and unlike if you pay respect and if you pay attention to the consent, you will never get involved with this.
Yeah. And it's made it,
Yes.
because there were so many voices and so many things, it made it feel like it was everywhere and it was happening to everyone. And, you know, there are people that conduct themselves wrong, and, you know...
And they've done it wrong.
And they have.
So-
But, for example, Harvey Weinstein,
Yeah.
accused of raping women. Like, that was one of the massive bench points. Ask yourself, are you going to rape someone? No. Then you don't really, then you don't need to really worry.
Don't worry about it.
Like, these are people that like drug people and like date
Yeah.
rape drugs, and this is extreme cases. If you're a good person and you respect women, then you're not going to fall into this trap. And people get so worried that they might, but you know, you're not going to do it if you have good morals and you are an upstanding person. Now, for all the people out there that aren't, yeah, you should be worried about the Me Too movement because we're coming after you because you're not conducting yourselves right. But most people that I imagine watch Karma TV aren't those types of people. So to worry about it and let it consume you and let it affect the way that you approach women, and to become so scared and shy about the concept of dating women, don't be. If you're not going to do anything wrong, you're not going to get thrown in prison.
Yep. So always paying attention to consent and pay respect.
Literally, respect and consent. All it comes down
So
to.
another question.
Yes.
How can we date with respect then?
It's all about the validation that somebody isn't just a body. Of course, when you meet
So
somebody...
recognize her personality, you're saying.
Recognize
Simply.
her for more than just her body.
Validate her personality, not only her like looks. So there's more about her than her looks. I think that she'll feel more connected to you
Yeah.
if you validate her personality.
And that's what you want. And what you'll actually find as well, if you validate people's personality and validate women's personalities, I think you'll actually be interested to understand how great a woman can be in your life. A lot of people, I think, if they haven't had that interaction with a female on an intellectual basis and a personality basis, can overlook the idea of the roles that she can play in helping you with your confidence and your personality, in your happiness, and contribute all to that. If you then just look at her as a physical object, you're asking for trouble, because, you know, we've moved very much away from how it used to be. Because, you know, we did have many years, many hundreds of years in which we were just baby makers. And
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Now they're YouTubers.
Exactly. No, but for me, I would say that, you know, I don't have any body confidence issues. I don't think I'm ugly. I'm very confident female.
Well, no one would have a body confidence issues if they work out like you.
True. I'm just like in the gym. But I'm very, very confident in all aspects. And as much as I do work on my body and I do look good, and, you know...
She works hard, yeah.
I'll work out. As much as I do that, my biggest attribute is my brain. And is my humour, and the fact that I try and make light of everything, and I do try and bring positivity to people's lives, and I'm very, very open. If you come at me, a lot of clients will message me about personal issues that they're going through, and I'm literally an open book. There is nothing that anybody can say that I cannot empathise with, because I will figure out how to empathise with anyone and everyone in any situation, because I understand the complexities of human nature. That's what I bring to the table. If you're looking at me as a pair of boobs and a vagina, you're missing out.
There's more.
There's so much more. And that's what you need to bear in mind when you meet women, is how incredible they can be. Because that's what I do. If a man is only interested in me in my body, I'm not going to go for him. Because he's degrading me, and also it makes me feel like there's not anything else to him. If you can meet somebody on an intellectual basis and bond over your personal views on topics and relationships and all of that strengthen in that type of intimacy, will be the most mind-blowing experience that you have. Not just physical, wham bam, one pump and done, thank you ma'am sort of thing. You need to look at somebody, not only the physical gains that you can get from interacting with them, but the emotional and intellectual gains. And once you approach women in that sense, asking them, inviting them into your life to increase your happiness in all levels and all aspects of your life, then that's what you need to do. If you're only looking for one thing, you're going to be unfulfilled. She's going to be unfulfilled. That's not going to be an interaction.
If you're looking for one thing, she might not give you that one thing. Be careful.
Exactly. It's very difficult.
So there's more, especially like in the pickup game. If you're a young guy, if you want to go into a field and live your life based on the pickup principles, you need to learn a few ground rules here. Especially like respecting them is the key. You need to understand that there's a personality. By luck, you can get a few women, that's fine, but like eventually they'll hand you back.
Exactly.
If you form bad habits around the pickup game, around the dating game, it might take years of get rid of these bad habits, and eventually that will dig you a hole.
Yeah, and
it's better to actually develop a game based on your authenticity.
Yeah.
And especially like understanding the female psychology and how they respond to a male personality. And those actually elements are very important in dating and the pickup game.
Yeah, it's that's what it is. It's authenticity.
Yeah.
Because if you create, like I said before, this bogus personality with these bad habits and these bad tactics, yeah, you know what? It might work for you sometimes. It's never going to be consistent, and it's not actually going to bring you happiness. It's not. It might be a quick fix for a while, but it's not consistent, and it's not going to make you happy in the long run.
Well, I think that we've discussed everything ins and outs here.
Yeah, I mean, so to summarise, the Me Too movement is fantastic in the sense that it's bringing a light to the pitfalls of how men have conducted themselves in the past, but it isn't accusing every man of it.
Yes.
And that's what you need to remember, the differentiation that you are not one of those people. And you do not have to fall into the same...
There's a personality trait, lads, like you have to understand that, like, date rapes. Come on, think about it.
Terrible.
That's a very psychopathic behavior when you identify that trait. So make sure that, like, you look at your own personality traits and make sure that it's good, positive.
So that's what you need, lads. Respect.
And consent.
And consent. I feel like Sesame Street, and they were the words of the day. Respect and consent. That is all you need.
2 words, yeah.
2 words, and you will be perfectly fine to approach and date women in the pickup
after
game.
After
the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be worried about. But if you do feel like maybe you're not that authentic person and you do need help, that is why we exist, is to help you become that authentic version of yourself. So, if you want to get coached by us and want one-on-one advice on how you can become your very best self, then click on the contact us link that you can find in the description box below. One of our customer service reps will be with you in less than 24 hours, and that's your first step to becoming the very best version of yourself. So, what are you waiting for? Click on the link, get in contact. Of course, if you love this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Do let us know your feelings. If you do want to know, if you do have any concerns about the way that you need to act after the Me Too movement, we are an open book, and we can help you out with that. So do drop your comments in the comment box below. Is that everything?
Yes.
I think turn on the notifications. Don't miss a single thing.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe, and all that jazz. And me and Emre will see you next time on the Karma Couch.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.